Hello everyone. Welcome back. We made it just under the wire with all sorts of gremlins nipping at our heels. But we made it work in the end.
Hi.
We are here.
Hola.
Mostly in one piece.
Mostly.
Lots and lots of gremlins this week,
Yeah. Sorry.
which is just amazing.
That's
But that's okay.
It happens. It's funny this is the first time it's happened to us where we just couldn't go live at all.
Yeah, just it would not cooperate at all.
It was frustrating.
So, and then we had other issues on top of that. So, it was like, an hour later, we just said, this isn't going to happen. We're
Yeah.
just going to have to record it separately. So we did. And we are right now.
Yeah. So it's a day later or a day earlier, depending on when you're watching or listening to this.
We'll still be able to edit it and put it out. So you'll be listening to it on Tuesday probably, but we will soldier on. And because we just didn't want to let today's topic go by.
We've got a great guest today.
Yeah, we do have a great guest. Extremely well vetted, gloriously accomplished. And you're going to want to stick around for this one.
It's pizza.
Worldwide. Known the world around.
Pizza is our guest.
Pizza's our guest today.
Yep.
We've threatened you with this topic for quite a while now. And we had a little bit of difficulty scheduling a guest for this particular episode. And I messaged Ashley the day before on Saturday, and I said, why don't we talk about the Pizza World Tour?
Yeah, and you've heard us mention it in one of our earlier episodes. We talked about one of the tours on the Pizza World Tour.
Oh, yeah.
One of the stops on the tour. And that's when we were like, we should do a whole podcast about this once because it's a very important topic for Ed and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the things, we've mentioned this to people before in our travels, and food is one of the things that I think we at least try to kind of seek out a little bit when we can on the road as touring. It's hard because sometimes we just don't have enough money, or sometimes we don't. More than often, we don't have enough time to go where we want to go. But that's something we try to really make a point of doing, go somewhere and have something interesting or local if we can. And the Pizza World Tour was was kind of a big part of that. And so that's the big story that we'll be sharing with you today. No human guest this week.
No.
But that's
this
okay.
Is better.
That's okay, because
Well, I don't know if it's better, but it's different.
It's going to be different. We'll have a fun time reminiscing over a lot of the pizza, our top pizza places, and the stories that are invariably connected to them.
Yeah. I'm looking at our show notes and I'm realizing basically our entire episode today is about food. So
oh, that's right.
Mine, except for the end, which we are going to talk about guitars. So stick around. So if you're hungry, then we'll be eating guitars. I don't know.
Don't listen to this if you're hungry and you're trying to avoid
eating your guitar.
Extra cheat days.
Oh yeah, that too.
Where you eat your guitar because you're so just crazy from dieting. Don't do that. We don't recommend it.
Yeah, just don't diet. Just everything in moderate. Eat your pizza. Work out. That's what I do. I eat so much pizza.
You do.
I really do, and then I just work out a lot.
Yep.
It's fine.
It works.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to start off with a little show and tell, as we often do. Mm-hmm. It was my turn this week, and I guess had food on the brain because I quickly found an awesome photo from my camera roll, and I'll throw it up here now. It's a photo of a very excited Ashley Norton.
Oh yeah.
In front of is that a pot of clams?
It is mussels, and that is, yeah, I think that's my other favorite thing other than pizza. But I just love getting mussels in France, which is so unfortunate because I just heard this marine biologist talk about how bad it is, like the mussel farming for the environment.
Oh boy.
I know. So
you're going to the bad place.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
I know. Nobody knew until that's what we have the scientists tell us. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably still going to have mussels. But I think only in France. You know, if I can like limit it, maybe that's cool. But
yeah.
I love the mussels in France because then you get this big bowl of them basically. And then you get to pick your sauce. It's like a curry or like a white wine sauce or whatever. And then you get all this, you get frites, which are fries, and you can dip the fries in the mussels, and you use like one shell to pull out the little guys. And one of my favorite things about eating mussels is like when you're with somebody like Ed and Brad, when I was with Brad, who's like not that into them, and it's like, yeah, but you have to try this, and then you try it, and then you see the like sheer joy across your face, and I'm like, see, they're delicious. But I digress. How did we get to this particular location, Ed?
This was in Calais, France, and Calais is a port town, and it's where you typically, one of the places, I think between Calais and Dunkirk, where you catch a ferry to head back over to the United Kingdom. And this was during our 2019 European tour, and we were on our way back to the UK, I think for the last leg.
Yeah, we went back and forth a few times.
Yeah, I think this was the last leg of the tour. We were going back to the UK because I think we finished out in the UK.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of extra travel time. So we decided, instead of just kind of rushing back, we would stop for a night in Calais.
Which, if you remember, we were in Denver maybe a month prior, and on our way actually back from that one show we had in Wales. And I was in the hotel gym talking to this nice gentleman who I told him about our big upcoming tour, and he said, when you guys go, you have to go to this little town called Calais. Everyone just uses it as a little stopover, but it's like the most magical place in Europe, in my opinion. So I wrote that down, and I was like, wait, we're totally going to go through Calais. Of course we're going to go through Calais.
Yeah.
And we booked our ferry tickets, and I believe I was like, Ed, we have to spend the night in Calais because what this guy told me, it's like supposed to be so magical. So we sought out an Airbnb to stay over an extra night and kind of break up the trip a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that now.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And so, yeah, we spent a night in Calais, and it was fantastic because we not long after we got settled at our Airbnb, we just kind of took a walk down to the water.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a long walk, but we saw so many cool things along the way, like a cool park.
That park was amazing.
There's like statue of, I think it was Churchill and de Gaulle, or something like that.
Well, and then they had that weird, like almost Alice in Wonderland kind of thing with these like gigantic lamps.
Yeah.
And you would stand next to it and you'd be like super small. And then they had like the little tiny fairy house, and you walk through that, and just the flowers were incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there was a little strip we walked down with a bunch of cool restaurants, and that's where we decided to get some dinner. And
seafood, of course, because we were on the coast.
Seafood, of course. I don't remember trying the mussels. I think I'm still a little averse to them.
Oh, I don't remember what you ordered seafood though, at least.
I must have. I don't recognize what this is. It looks kind of like a chicken thing, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe it's chicken. I don't know.
I can't remember what it is. It looks really good still.
It's chicken on the sea, at least.
But yeah, this restaurant was cool. We just kind of sat on the roadside. We got to just watch Calais go by.
Yeah, and then we walked the waterfront a little bit. There was like a Ferris wheel, I think, there or something. Mm-hmm. And then and our Airbnb was awesome too. It was just like this cute little Airbnb.
That was nice.
And then the next morning, I remember I had like this awesome like travel day by myself because we only had a few hours, and I got up early because I wanted to go have a coffee and a croissant in that little garden. So I went and I found a coffee and a croissant and I sat in the garden. And then I was like, I'm going to take a walk. And I walked back down to the waterfront and I found there was a lighthouse right there. And I saw this woman and she kind of ran past me and like ran into the lighthouse. And I was like, oh, you can go in it. And so I walked in, and of course it wasn't open and they didn't speak any English. And we somehow mimed to each other that I wanted to go on a little tour. It was like €5 to tour the lighthouse. And they had a tiny little lighthouse museum. So I just had to wait for them to open for like 10 minutes. And I was the only person in there. And they walked me up the spiral staircase to the very top. And I got to like look at views of Calais. And you could see our ship off in the distance that we were going to, get on or whatever. Or maybe we were already there. I can't remember. But you could see the ship and you could see just everything that we had walked around the day before. It was so cool. And they had a really old, I think there was a castle there too, or there's some really, really old building. And I just walked around by myself, and it was just the coolest town. And then I met back up with you and we were on our merry way.
Yeah, that was really neat. Yeah. It was a surprising town.
Yeah.
I mean, I had never been there, and I'd never really been to the town. I feel like maybe one of the years we drove through it. Maybe we drove through it to get back.
Maybe.
Or I can't remember if we've always taken Dunkirk.
I don't know either.
But it was well worth the trip. Yeah. It was well worth the detour to stay overnight in Calais.
Worth the moulet. Moulet. I think that's what it's called. Mussels. Moules.
Yeah, it was really fun. Very beautiful town.
Yeah.
I don't know that big old, where the garden was, there's that giant house, a giant building too. I don't know if it was like a government center or something.
With the big clock on the top.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. It was a government building of some sort.
Yeah, I know. We both got some video and photos. Maybe we'll share those
we can share more
at some
stuff.
point. But yeah, that was my show and tell. I thought I saw that and I'm like, oh, fun.
That's a good one.
That was a good meal.
Good. Yeah, to our food episode.
Yeah, it starts our food episode. Next we're gonna do a little video presentation for you. We've got another video queued up here, and in continuing, I guess, with the overseas theme, this was suggested, I believe, by Alice, and she wanted us to play the official music video that Ash put together for Burn the Roses, which was a number of clips from our first UK tour, where our violinist and dear friend Stephanie Groot joined us, and our dear friend and sort of band manager / mom,
chaos coordinator.
Chaos coordinator. Lisa Russell also joined us and had lots of fun.
Yeah.
On that trip. So we're gonna play that for you right now.
All dressed up in shades of black, dark sunglasses, don't look back. I still smell the burning heart. I guess till death do us part. Burn the roses to the ground, plant the ashes ashes 6 feet down. Watch my fire put you out. Burn the roses to the ground. Take these flowers from the grave, throw them in this dying flame. Lie inside the bed you made. Say goodbye, I walk away. Burn the roses to the ground. Plant the ashes 6 feet down. Watch my fire put you out. Burn the roses to the ground. Smoke fills the air, it's hard to breathe. I'm choking on your memory. One of us will come out alive. So rest in peace tonight. To the ground, plant the ashes 6 feet down. Watch my fire put you out. Burn the roses to the ground. Burn the roses to the ground. Plant the ashes 6 feet down. Watch my fire put you out. Burn the roses to the ground. 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 Burn the roses. Burn the roses.
Okay.
All right, that was our official music video for Burn the Roses, comprised of clips from our first UK tour in 2017.
I love that we have that video because it's just so like, I mean, we filmed everything on that tour, and
We sure did.
Yeah, and it was just really fun to piece it all together and then like, have that memory because that tour was so special to all of us. So like, we can always just look back on it for a good memory, you know.
It was a big accomplishment, you know.
Yeah, that was our first, you know, when Ed and I started Witherword, we really wanted to be a European touring band. And when we finally felt we were ready to try to go overseas, I looked at a map and I picked, you know, between 7 countries in Europe. And I just started emailing, you know, 50 to 100 of them. And I said, whoever gets back to me first, that's where we're going. And it was England, a little town in England. It was Cromford.
Yeah.
That was our first show at the boat
right?
Inn. Yeah. It was our first booked show. And I was like, okay, England, here we come. And we decided for our first European, or I guess UK, I don't whatever. Brexit. We didn't want to go too many places. We're like, let's just kind of dip our toes in the water and go this year and then see how it goes and decide if we want to go back the next year. And so we picked, I think we had maybe 10 shows in England, and then we flew home, and it was really fun. It was really fun having Stephanie and Lisa there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there we have endless stories from that. And a lot of them are in that video where we burned the roses. And yes, you can burn roses. They just have to be dried.
You just have to really work hard at it.
Yeah. It took us a long time to light those puppies.
All right. So next we will get on to the main event.
Our special guest.
Our special guest, the Pizza World Tour.
Yes.
Theme music. The Pizza World Tour was something. It was a thing that it was a name that I coined.
Yep.
Primarily as a joke. Because the only places I had ever had the pizza were in the U.S.
It started when we were only touring in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. I was only touring in the U.S., but of course, the U.S. loves to do that kind of thing, with the World Series, the World Champions. So I'm like, okay, this is the Pizza World Tour.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, the U.S. does pizza the best. I mean, really,
I would agree.
If you look at our list, we've got one bonus story, but it was not the best pizza. It's just a funny story coming in. But every other thing on our list, there's nothing from Europe here. This is all American.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, maybe if we went to Italy, but we haven't gone to Italy.
I've had pizza in Italy, and I was not impressed.
Yeah, same. It's different. It's different.
Sorry, Italy. I was not impressed.
Oh, I love you, Italy. Don't be mad.
You do everything else fantastic, except pizza and fascism. Leaving that aside, it was kind of a joke at first. Like, okay, and we hadn't even been across the entire United States. Like,
where were we when you coined this?
I don't remember at all.
I feel like it was in New Haven.
Might have been.
I don't know.
That is sort of I would say, one of the pizza meccas. Of the U.S.
But this is coast to coast, this list.
Yep. It's coast to coast.
So Ed's got a list and I've got a list, and a lot of there's
some overlap.
There's some overlap. So we each picked some of the overlaps to discuss. But Ed, would you like to kick this off since this is your world tour?
Yeah, I do have a top 5. In a sort of an order, I guess. There's definitely a number 1. There's definitely a number 1, and that is Bill's Pub in Mundelein, Illinois. This was a tip that we got from Stephanie Groot, who is a native of that area, the Chicagoland area. And she said, when we were there a few years ago, and she said, we've got to go to Bill's Pub. It's the best pizza you'll ever have. And I'm like, okay, I like pizza. So we made the trip. It was a long trip to Mundelein from where we were. And went to, it's just, Bill's Pub is just that. It's a pub. It kind of looks like maybe kind of like a Shakey's or something, They
have taxidermy all over the place.
Very awesome taxidermy.
Yeah, it's like a squirrel
hunters.
Yeah, he's got a little bow and arrow.
Squirrel hunters and all kinds of other stuff. And I think it's one of those places where you could throw the peanut shells on the floor. I think it's one of those places. And they have the best thin crust pizza I'd ever had in my life. It was just, sauce was just perfect. Pepperoni under the cheese, and which I don't typically like, but they just do it perfectly. So it was divine.
And how many times have we been there? A couple times at least.
Couple times. Yeah, we've done Bill's a couple of times. Mainly after that, like after Stephanie said we should go and we went, I'm like, okay, every time we go, we should try to go to Bill's. And so that is my number one. It was just, and it was fun. Again, it's fun doing it with, with you and Steph and Lisa. And I think our friend Alana joined us as well.
I think that's Stephanie's favorite. Isn't that Stephanie's number one?
I think it is.
I think so too.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's Stephanie's number one. And yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It is my number one.
It's so funny because it's not on my list. I really liked it.
Yeah.
But it's not. I think you have to be a real thin crust lover.
Which I am. I really like thin crust pizza. It's my favorite type, I think.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. They have a deep dish, but it's not as good. I've heard it's not as good as their thin crust. But I've never had their deep dish. So
yeah.
Do we want to trade off, or do you want me just going through mine, or?
Yeah. Let's trade off. I mean,
you've got a number one too, right?
Well, my number one is the same as your number 5.
Aha. Okay.
So I'll skip. You know what? This is what I'll do because my top 3 are in your
mine.
top 5. So I'm gonna skip to number 4, which is something I grew up with.
Oh.
Which is Regina's Pizza in Boston, Massachusetts, specifically in Faneuil Hall. And did we discuss if I took you? I did not take you there.
Yeah, we discussed it. I did not go. We didn't make it there.
Okay, because we did tour through Boston.
Yeah, we went through Harvard Square.
Yeah.
But I don't think we made it over there.
No, we were. You know why? We were on the Clam Chowder World Tour in Boston.
That's right.
We didn't have time for pizza, but I know Regina's Pizza, and I mean, I don't know. I think it's still as good as I remember, but I remember just being a kid and trying it and being like, what is this? This is not pizza. It's like,
it's
ecstasy on on a paper plate. Just whatever it is about the flavors and the sauce, and it's kind of halfway between like a pan and a thin crust. It's somewhere in the middle of that.
Is it hand tossed style?
I believe so. Yeah, and hand tossed,
okay.
And it's just the sauce was so. I remember the sauce in particular is so good. The sauce and the cheese, and then of course, I mean, there's like 3 things in pizza: sauce, cheese, and dough, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to have a perfect all 3 things in order to make it into the top 5. So that definitely has it. But I remember just getting the plain cheese pizza and just loving it so much. And one of my favorite things about going to Faneuil Hall when I was a kid in particular is, which Faneuil Hall, I should mention, is a big shopping kind of mecca of Boston, but it's not necessarily what you'd think. Like they have a lot of the big stores and everything, but they have it's kind of an outdoor thing, and then they have like indoor markets, and it's just a whole crazy thing in Faneuil Hall. It was always really fun to go to, and there was a cafeteria section, which is just a long hall, and there's lines of food on each side of the hall, and they have a Regina's Pizza there. I don't know if there is another Regina's Pizza. I'm guessing there is. There must be.
Yeah, I think it's a chain for sure, but it's only, from what I can tell, it's only in the Northeast, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm not sure if that's who has the original one, but that's the one that we always went to. And then, as an adult, if I'm back there and if I happen to go to Faneuil Hall, of course, I'll pop in and get a piece of pizza. Makes me super happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love that this kind of childhood pizza places you find.
But if you'll talk to many Bostonians who will wholeheartedly disagree with me. But they're the same Bostonians that say Legal Seafoods doesn't have good clam chowder, which is wrong.
Yep, they're wrong. I'm sorry. They're wrong about that. We did try that.
Yeah, it was number 1 for me. That place in Cape Cod, that was number 1, right?
Oh,
that was so good.
Yeah, like Dave's Pub or something.
Yeah, we were like, let's find the guy with the thickest Boston accent and ask him where to get good clam chowder, and that's where we're going. And we pulled into the parking lot, And the guy's like, your car's over.
Captain Parker's.
Nice.
Captain
he goes,
Parker's.
go to Captain Parker's.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, he had the best. I could have listened to the guy read the weather. Like, he had the best accent.
He did. And we're like, oh, yeah, it's going to be good. Of course, it was just a dive bar, but they had like some of the best rated clam chowder.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm sorry. I'm on a different tour now.
That's okay. Can you tell we're both hungry?
I am hungry, actually. I'm super hungry.
But yeah, that unfortunately I didn't make it to Regina's, but I will definitely keep it in mind.
Yep.
Whenever we're back that way next. My number 2, well, the second on the list, let's say, is Sally's Pizza in, again, I would say one of the pizza meccas of the U.S., New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And I think, did we go there the first time we went to New Haven, or was it the second time? I can't remember when, because we went to we've been to 3 places in New Haven.
Yeah, so my mom grew up in New Haven, and New Haven, strangely, is really known for their pizza.
Oh, man.
Like more than anywhere. And so I think we went to...
we went to Frank Pepe's first.
Yeah, I think we went to Frank Pepe's first, but which is my number 1, but Ed's number 5. And although Sally's is both of our number 2s, and we went with Lynn Drazen, my mom's friend Lynn, that she grew up with, and might have, and Josh, and I can't remember if we went the first or the second time, because the second time we went, we tried like a couple more. We went to Modern.
Went to Modern.
Yeah, which is also really good, but not on our list.
Yeah, and we went to Sally's.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there was something about what Sally's did that I think it might have been the sauce for me that just made it so memorable. And New Haven pizza is kind of interesting because it's a thin pizza. It's huge. First of all, they're gigantic pizzas. Yeah. And they just kind of cut them haphazardly. Like you could get, like a 7-8 inch long piece or like a tiny square.
Yeah, they just that's the thing in New Haven. They randomly they don't cut it evenly. It's like you could get a triangle, you get a rectangle, you could get a circle. You don't know what you're gonna get.
I guess it wouldn't make any sense now that I think about it, because the pizzas themselves are so big. Like if you cut it into regularly, then it just, I don't know, you wouldn't be able to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So just cut it however.
I think they're known for their white clam pizza too, which I love clams. I tried it, wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I guess not everything can go on a pizza as much as people would like to try.
Yeah.
But I really liked their pizza a lot. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that's the one, it was either one of the New Haven pizza places are in an earlier episode where we shared maybe even
it was
first
probably
episode.
Frank Pepe's. That was like, because we had the photo of us at Frank Pepe's at the first, I think the first time we went through.
Yeah.
On the very first episode, I think we did that.
Well, next on my list, which is my number 5, is has only crept up into number 5 in the last few months, and I think partially it's because of a little bit of hometown pride, newfound hometown pride. It's in my little town here of Ramona, but they have an amazing pizza place here, and I can't wait for Ed to come visit to take him there. It's called Mama Ramona's, and we only went to eat there once. I mean, it's COVID time, so things are difficult, and we were sitting outside, and it was Brad's birthday, but the service is pretty bad. So don't go for the service. Go for, I mean, maybe it's better after COVID, but go for the pizza. And we love just like ordering it to go and taking it home and sitting around the TV and watching a movie or something. And we do this once a week probably.
Wow.
It's so good. And we have this very specific pizza that we order from them, which is we get a large veggie pizza, and we add pepperoni to half, because I like to pretend like I'm a vegetarian. And so, and they screw up our order half the time, which is frustrating and also hilarious. And we still keep going back because it's just so good. The pizza's so good. And my sister was visiting with her kids, and even they were like, yeah, this is like, we thought you were just talking it up, but this is really good pizza. And it's kind of a thicker crust. It's not a thick crust. It's not a deep dish rather. But it's definitely thicker crust, which is interesting because that's not my favorite thing, but they just do it really, really well, and we love it. And it's right here. So
wow, nice find.
Mama Ramona's, yeah. Just down the street, in fact.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, like, it's the craziest thing. California is very well known for its pizza chains.
Yeah.
Like, not just, I mean, I know there's some that have spread out around the country.
Yeah.
But they know their way around a pizza.
Well, yeah, testament per your next pick, Ed.
Yeah, my next pick is a bit of an anomaly, just because we wouldn't have expected to find this place if not for Ashley's cousins, who are from the Chicagoland area as well.
So they know good pizza.
But we often stay with them when we're going through the Bay Area. And there was one time where they mentioned to us there's a really good Chicago deep dish pizza place here that your cousin Seth, I think, recommended.
Yeah.
And
Seth really knows pizza.
He knows pizza. He knows good food when he has it. And he recommended it to them, and they were like, "We're going there. This is the best. This is the best pizza you'll have. This is the best deep dish you'll have." We're like, "Really? In Alameda?" And they're like, "Yeah." So we went there, and by God, it was the best deep dish I've had. And I've had a few by this point.
Yeah.
I've had Uno's. I've had Gino's. I've had I haven't had Lou Malnati's, but there was another one that I've had that we had in Chicago. And you know what? None of them top Star Pizza in Alameda, California. There's something about it's again, for me, I guess it comes down to the sauce. And they don't put too much cheese in it, which I think, because I feel like a good pizza is all about balance. Some people really like lots of cheese, and that's fine. But some deep dish pizzas have too much cheese, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. But Star, they put the right amount of cheese in, and their sauce is just perfect. And so
they have little individual pizzas that are good too.
Yeah, you can, like, I think it's a lunchtime thing. You can get like a small kind of personal deep dish pizza that is really just perfect for one person. It's like 4 slices, and man, it's good.
Oh, I'm so hungry now.
It is just like, again, if you are from Chicago and you're in the Bay Area, homesick for deep dish pizza, just go to Star. It'll probably be as good or better than anything you've had at home.
And our cousins don't do dairy, and they say, and I've gone in on a non-dairy pizza with them, or the fake cheese, and it's very good. So
they make it work.
Yeah, they really do.
So if you're a vegan or some of that persuasion, you won't feel left out.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, Star Pizza, Alameda, California. Check it out.
Star Pizza is good. I'm just writing a theme song. Star Pizza is my number 3, in fact. Yeah. But I'm kind of out of numbers, but I've got a couple
What's your
bonus
honorable
things.
Mention?
I've got an honorable mention, and then I've got a bonus. But the honorable mention is another deep dish place out of Chicago. Many of you Chicagoites, I don't know what do you call them?
I think it might be Chicagoans. I can't remember. I don't know what the demonym is.
Awesome Chicago people will know Lou Malnati's. And in fact, there's one in Scottsdale, Arizona now that is also really, really, really good. And I mean, it's just good deep dish. I don't have much to say about it beyond that. I've tried the one in Chicago. I've had the one in Scottsdale, and they're both good. Which, by the way, oh yeah, no, we haven't. Sorry, never mind. Scratch that. I was about to get ahead of myself, but you have to wait. Lou Malnati's.
Minutes. Lou Malnati's. Yeah, I've heard from you and your mom that the Lou Malnati's in Scottsdale is really good.
Yeah.
And so I'm quite eager to try it. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, they deliver too. You know,
awesome.
Just saying.
I will definitely have to try that because I'm on the lookout for good deep dish pizzas, you know, like Chicago style deep dish pizzas, because they're so interesting to me. But I feel like it's hard for me. It's hard to get them right.
Yeah,
it's hard to get them really good.
Well, there's another super. I think all the Chicagoans. Can I say this? All the Chicagoans moved to Scottsdale because they're tired of the windy and cold weather, and they open chains there. It's
they
really
brought their
funny.
Pizza with them.
Yeah, there's another one. I don't know if it's New York or Chicago. I can't remember. And I can't remember the name of it, but it's also moved to Scottsdale. People were all excited. This was like 15 years ago when it came.
Oh, really?
It was ahead of the time. Paved the way.
Awesome. I think that's cool. It's kind of funny to see that, like when, especially here in Scottsdale, because there's so many transplants. Like it's one of the cities that just so many people come from all different parts of the country.
Yeah.
And they, you know, even if only for a few months out of the year, and they miss their hometown food. And so every now and again, a place will open up here and people just lose their mind. You know, it's really kind of neat to see.
I think they even like fly in the water. They're serious about it. I think Lou's does that, and I think the next one on your list does it too.
I believe they do, because you got to get it right. You got to have the right ingredients, I guess.
Yeah.
The number 4 on my list is Grimaldi's, which is originally a New York City chain. They're kind of mostly thin style pizza. And the first time I had it was at the Scottsdale Culinary Festival.
Oh yeah.
They had, because we performed at the festival a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And they give the bands like food tickets, so you can go get whatever, you know, and there's like, you know, 15 or 20 or 30 booths there with all different kinds of awesome food. And Grimaldi's had a booth there. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'd heard of Grimaldi's, but I never had it. And they got a piece, and I was like, this is amazing. I think I used the rest of my tickets on it.
Yeah, he like won, and then he's like, all the pizza. I just threw the tickets at them. And
give me all of it. So I had Grimaldi's there, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is definitely some of the best thin crust pizza I've had, just pizza period.
It's so good.
It was neat that they had their own, you know, store here in Scottsdale.
They have a couple too. Like I remember, I mean, I would meet my friends there a lot. It was like a really popular place for us to go. We loved their pizza.
So they've been around for a while?
Yeah, and they have one in South Scottsdale and in North Scottsdale and DC Ranch. Okay. And I'm not sure. I'm sure they must have opened up more locations by now, but I don't know.
Probably.
But I knew I worked for a chiropractor when I was like 20, and her sister was married to like one of the Grimaldi's, basically.
Oh.
So he was a really nice guy twe I remember him coming into the office a lot, and he was a really, really cool guy.
That's
and
awesome.
I went because I was we went on tour to New York City, and we stayed in Brooklyn, which I believe is where it is. And Brad came to visit, and Brad and I had a night off, and we decided to go on a little date to the original Grimaldi's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was really fun. It's a really cool location too, because it's just also one of those standard, you know, New York restaurants. It's kind of small, but like still kind of cool and very, very busy.
Yeah.
But I did not enjoy it as much as the Scottsdale times. I mean, it could have been a thing of the time. I mean, Brad loved it. It was delicious, but it wasn't like, it didn't blow me out of the water like the Scottsdale one, which I thought was kind of funny. So I don't know why, but
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
When you get to go to a place outside of its home area, and it just somehow it's the descendants are better than the ancestors somehow.
Yeah, maybe because it's like the younger generation kind of improved on, or maybe because they all moved to Scottsdale. They were all there.
Yeah.
They were like, screw this cold weather in New York. We're going to Scottsdale.
Yeah, maybe so. That's very true.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you my bonus story, and then Ed's going to wrap things up with his number 5, which is my number 1.
Yep.
But I love this bonus story. This is not remotely close to anywhere on our top 30 list of good pizza.
This is a cautionary tale.
Yeah. It was good. The pizza was good. It just was not noteworthy. It was this story takes place in Germany, in Bremen, Germany, which is one of our favorite German cities with some of our favorite friends. Our friend Torben lives there and booked us on a couple of shows on our second and third tours through. So the first time we went in 2018, he had us at a little pub with a little stage that was very cute, and it was a wonderful show, and he is a wonderful human. And after sound check, he said, why don't you guys go get something to eat and then come back and start the show? So he gave us some suggestions, and he said, well, this place over here does pizza. And, we're on the Pizza World Tour. So we're like, okay, well, we'll go to the pizza place. So we go into the pizza place and we sit down and we get German menus, which are not necessarily translated in English.
No, I think we had to use our phones.
We did. And I don't think our waiter really spoke very much English. He could speak a little bit, but we had to figure it out. So we decided, I often make things simple and go for just the pepperoni pizza with Ed because that's his favorite. So we decided to get the pepperoni pizza, and our pizza shows up with little tiny specks of a green vegetable on it. And we kind of looked at each other, and we looked at the waiter, and we looked at the pizza, and we looked at each other, and we're like, that's not pepperoni. And we decided to try and call the waiter over to see if we could maybe fix the situation or explain the situation, which we knew was going to be difficult because he didn't speak English very well. And we're trying, and he was like, nope, that's what you ordered. That's it. And we were like, okay, well, it looks good, smells good. So we ate it. And then we looked into our phones. We looked up. I was like, well, wait, maybe I can't remember if Ed figured it out or me, but we're like, well, maybe it's pepperoni, something different here. And sure enough, it is. Pepperoni is basically, is it banana peppers or something?
If you order pepperoni on a pizza in Germany, it's basically banana peppers.
Yeah, which is such a weird thing to put. I mean, it was good, but it
actually was pretty good.
It was, but it's such a weird thing to put on your pizza, like just by itself. So what the best part, though, the funniest part of the whole story is, we kind of chuckled about it, and we paid our bill and we went back to the venue. We told Torben about this, and Torben thought that this was the funniest thing he's heard in a really long time, and he could not stop laughing about it, which made us laugh even harder.
Yeah.
Basically, long story short, do not order pepperoni pizza in Germany. It is called salami.
Salami is what you want, and you will get pepperoni. If you order pepperoni, you will get pepperoncini.
Yeah, you will get confused.
Or banana peppers.
I think there's like missing a P too.
Yeah, it's
PEPRONI or something.
Yeah, a cautionary tale for anybody touring in Germany wanting a pepperoni pizza.
Maybe just don't get pizza in Germany also. Just don't do it.
You know what, though? It's funny. You actually reminded me of another interesting story about Germany and pizza. I want to throw this in there just while we're talking about it because it is kind of part of the Pizza World Tour. I went to after the tour in 2018, we had some time to kill before we had to take the car back. So I stayed in a little town. I just went somewhere. It was a little bit west, I believe, of Frankfurt. It was called Neuansbach. And I wanted to get a pizza because I wanted a pizza. I always want pizza. So it was in the height of the summer season, so a lot of places were closed. But I found a little place about 3 towns over. And so I go there, and it was just a little kind of pub, but they had pizza. And I'm like, all right, I'll just get a salami pizza.
Well done.
I had learned my lesson. And but they didn't really speak. The waitresses there didn't really speak English kind of at all. And so I had a bit of a difficult time kind of getting their attention and telling them what I'd wanted. And this guy over in the across the bar, and this happens quite a bit in Germany, which is one of the great things about it, is that I can order for you. And he told her I wanted a pepperoni pizza, and I was like,
that's so nice.
Yeah, it was really nice of him to do that. He was just kind of chilling there with his friend. He had to have been, I don't know, maybe in his 70s or something. And so I went over and thanked him, and he was a super cool guy. And I asked him, well, you speak pretty good English. You don't sound like you're from here. He's like, oh no, I'm from West Virginia. I'm like, wait, what? And yeah, he had been there after it was either Korea, I think it was Vietnam. He got stationed in Germany and decided he really liked it, and he wasn't going back to the U.S. And so that's where he's been ever since. He was there with his really cute husky dog.
Aww.
And just chilling with his friend. And yeah, he and his wife, I think, just owned like apartment buildings there in that area of the state. And so it just goes to show, you never know who you're going to meet at a pizza parlor in Germany.
Right.
You might meet somebody from West Virginia. In Germany.
Yeah, the pizza tour that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it was really, that's one of the things I'll remember for a long time. It was really kind of funny.
Nice, Ed.
Yeah, and of course, like Ashley mentioned, my final entry in the Pizza World Tour on the top 5 is Frank Pepe's,
which is my number 1.
And it was kind of funny how we I guess ultimately got the idea to go. We got the idea from your cousin, Ike.
Well, I've known about.
You knew about it,
Pepe. Yeah, I've known about it for a really long time because my mom growing up there, it's all you hear about is Sally's and Frank Pepe's, and of course they have like all these childhood stories that revolve around it because they had the privilege of growing up in the pizza capital of the world. So they didn't get, Domino's. They got Sally's and Frank Pepe's.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then Ike, my whole family knows about Frank Pepe's, but Ike's a real believer in the Frank Pepe's for sure.
Yeah, he was like, go to Connecticut, because I guess he found out we were going to Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he was like, order Frank Pepe's and mail it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
mail it.
I don't think we can do that, but we'll definitely go there.
Yeah, I don't think that would transfer very well.
I'm not sure it would have worked, but
maybe he could just order it. Maybe they do something where they I don't know. I don't know.
But
he did.
We went there,
yeah,
and it was incredible. So we do have Ike to thank for that.
And Ed sent my mom a Frank Pepe's mug and a hat, and she was so happy about it.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Because I remember her talking about it a lot, like it was like her favorite place.
Yeah, she loved that mug too. She broke it recently, and she was legitimately sad about it.
Aww.
I know.
Aww.
I know.
We'll have to get another one.
Yeah. She's got a birthday coming up.
I have one honorable mention.
Okay.
And this place is a chain. I looked into it a little bit. It's a California-based chain.
Oh.
It's a pretty good one. It's called Pizza Factory. And I went there with your dad, visiting him one time in Payson, and he said, "Oh, let's get a pizza. You got to try this place. It's great." And we went there, and it was really good. I had low expectations because it was just a place in a strip mall.
Yeah.
But it was really good. Like,
I haven't been there still.
Actually, the cheese was my favorite part of it, I think, which is I'm not usually that into the cheese of a pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next time you're visiting your dad, you guys should definitely go to Pizza Factory. It's really, really good.
I will do that. And before we wrap up the Pizza World Tour, Ed, I think there's one more honorable mention not an honorable mention, but just a bonus mention of weird pizzas, including well, first of all, we've got Denver that claims they had invented the pretzel crust pizza, which we have not tried and just sounds so gross to me. And then
That's right.
And then there's didn't you say St. Louis has really weird pizza?
Oh boy.
And then there's Utica.
I didn't know you were going to. Yeah, so
Utica's the one I was thinking about because that's so weird.
Oh, okay. So St. Louis has there's a thin crust pizza popularized primarily by emos. And it is the cheese is the part of this that really just kind of
throws you.
Yeah.
Offends you.
Yes.
Disturbs you.
Everything. It's Provel and cheddar, if I recall correctly.
It's weird.
On a thin crust pizza. It's not good.
It's weird.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to zoom in here. St. Louis, it's just not, it just doesn't work. You've got toasted ravioli, and that's wonderful. We can maybe kind of move on from Provel and cheddar on pizza.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Let it go.
And then Utica is interesting. Utica is my mom's hometown.
And that's New York, by the way.
It's in upstate New York, just a little bit off the thruway, about an hour east of Syracuse. And they have something called the tomato pie, which is pretty much. I have not encountered it outside of Utica. It may have traveled to a couple other cities nearby, like maybe Rochester. Maybe Ithaca, I don't know. But a tomato pie is basically, what's the kind of bread called? Focaccia bread?
Oh, focaccia?
I think so.
Like it's like a thicker, kind of spongier bread?
Yeah, focaccia bread. Yeah, it is kind of like that. And tomato, like pure tomato kind of puree and ricotta cheese. And that's it.
That actually sounds pretty good.
It's baked and it's huge. And yes, it is very good.
I would like to try that.
It's and again, Utica is the only place I've found this. And typically, if we visit my Aunt Jane in Utica. She'll typically just pick one up, and they're so big you could usually have one for like 3 days. They're really big.
Fun.
Yeah, Utica has a few weird things. Like I think what is it called? There's something called a chicken riggy, which is just I think a chicken and rigatoni sandwich or something like that. Huh. And there's another like half cookie kind of thing that they have as well.
Okay.
So they have a few weird kind of culinary things, but the tomato pie is the best one of them all.
I like weird things.
Yeah.
Just not Provo and cheddar.
Yeah, that's maybe going a little too far.
Well, okay.
Anyone who can correct me on whatever it is, but whatever it is, I'm sorry, it's just not good.
If you guys have a weird pizza or an awesome pizza that you want to share with us, please do send us a message or an email so we may try it out on our next Pizza World Tour.
Yeah, we may try. We always take suggestions for the Pizza World Tour.
Yeah.
We may not take your song suggestions at a concert, but we will always write down Pizza World Tour suggestions.
Yeah. just a reminder that our Patreon page is still going strong, and we are really excited to be building our community, and we'd like to encourage and invite all of you to join us on Patreon. I think the biggest thing that you're going to get out of that is music. So if you're a fan of specifically Witherword, you might have noticed that we're performing less and less music in our podcast, but we are doing more and more of it on our Patreon page. So every single week for, 20 to 25 minutes before we start our live podcast on Sundays at typically 12:20 Pacific time, we will send you a private link so you can join us in a exclusive Patreon only live concert. So we'll play 3 to 5 songs, and you'll get to make comments with a few of our fans who have joined us on this platform and growing. And it's a lot of fun. You can throw out requests. You can hear Witherword songs. You can get covers. And it's just like a little warm up for the podcast too. So we highly recommend you join. There's other rewards and tiers and things like that after that, but it's only $5 to get this weekly. So it's $5 every month, not every week, $5 a month to get a weekly exclusive private pre-show Patreon concert. That was a mouthful.
No, well said though. Yeah.
Thank you.
That is it's something that we're trying to encourage people to join if you want to get a little bit extra value out of being a fan of Crimes Against Folk. You can also help us support the podcast and keep it going. And that way we can deliver some fun extras to you as well. So yeah, please do consider checking out our Patreon and signing up if you're interested to see what we've done. You also get access to all of the concerts and little extras we've done before, depending on what tier you're on.
Yep.
And so for everything involved with Patreon, you can just check it out at patreon.com/crimesagainstfolk. And it should be there on the screen if you're watching this video, but that's the address, patreon.com/crimesagainstfolk.
Yeah, we'll also put it in our show notes, but
Yep.
We love it. And thank you to everyone who is currently a patron. We love you.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun.
It's super fun.
I've also been starting to do open threads after each episode. So if you want to just kind of chat and have a conversation about whatever we've talked about in the podcast, you can join in on that too. So
awesome. But now we're going to move on to our tips and tricks section, which I don't know if this is really considered a tip or trick, but it's just something.
I guess if you were looking for a guitar to try or buy, maybe, but
but we're talking about guitars. We've got I guess this is like the show of lists. So we're listing some of our favorites, some of the ones we own, some of the ones we recommend, some of the ones we've gotten to perform with or play around with, or factories we've visited or shops we've visited.
Yeah. So firstly, we'll start with, well, I guess this is kind of an interesting one because Ashley has an avian songbird, and I gotta say it's one of the best guitars I've ever played.
Yeah,
acoustic guitars I've ever played, and I know you really like it too.
I love it. I'm if you're listening, I have it. I'm showing it in the video, so you can. Well, we could put pictures and stuff in show notes, but it's just a really beautiful acoustic guitar. It's very well balanced. It's got a gorgeous tone. It records well. It performs well. It doesn't really lose its tuning very easily. It's got great, it came set up very well, and then our friend set it up even better. And it's got a cool like half cutaway kind of a deal, so which supposedly doesn't ruin the integrity of the full size guitar. So which means it's instead of because some guitars have that little cutoff at the top, so soloists can kind of hit those strings, but this one it's cut halfway into the guitar, so you can still hit all the strings, but you still get that full body sound, which is really cool looking also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was designed by Michael Bashkin, a luthier out of Fort Collins, Colorado.
Who we're going to have as a guest here pretty soon.
Yeah. Coming up in December.
Yeah.
He'll be on the podcast. And he has his own podcast called Luthier on Luthier that has been doing pretty well, so I hear.
Oh, cool.
And he designed a line of new guitars for the Avian brand, which has been around for a while. I think it's been around since the 70s or 80s. And a British group bought it and hired Michael Bashkin to design a new line of guitars, and that was one of them. And we managed to meet everybody and get in touch with them through our friend Jason Kostel, and we met them all at NAMM 2017, I believe it was, or 2018.
Yeah, I think it was 2017.
And they got Ashley in on an endorsement deal.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. That's how she got that guitar.
And they had us perform at their booth, and we were working closely with their marketing company, and then they fired their marketing company, and apparently nobody knew that I had this guitar, and apparently then the company changed hands because someone in China decided to buy the trademark and try and sell it back to them for 30 grand, and they said, no, thank you, we're not going to spend that. And so then the original Avian guys just bowed out, and now China is making the guitars.
Yep. So unfortunately, you can't really get Ashley's guitar anymore.
Not the way it is. Not like this.
The Songbird looks very different from what it used to.
Yeah, and I don't think they're allowed to really put Bashkin's name in it anymore.
Yeah.
Which mine does. It has. And I mean, Bashkin guitars are much more elite than the Avian guitars, and worth much more. So even though the Avian guitars will price point anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 maybe. This is probably a $2,000 guitar that I have, and his are like, I don't know, $8,000,
something like that. Yeah,
because he designed it, he didn't build it. And typically boutique guitars are much more expensive because it's just one at a time. But yeah, I don't think you can get this anymore. So this is really a priceless piece that I have right here. Yeah.
So that's one of our favorite guitars. It's a fantastic guitar. I love it. I love playing it.
And by the way, if you are in the market for a guitar and you see an Avian, don't be shy. Even though it's a different company, they're still pretty nice.
Yeah, give it a try.
Yeah,
see what you think.
Give it a try.
And if you can afford it,
get a
order
Bashkin.
One from Michael Bashkin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
We've been to his shop and we tried one of his guitars, and holy smokes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the first top 4 guitars on our list here are going to be potentially out of your price point, but we will
potentially out of most people's price point.
But we don't own them, but we love them. Like Bashkin, really good, and we're friends with Mike Baranek as well, who has Baranek guitars
out of Templeton, California.
Yes, he is Templeton, and he is the coolest dude. Like he's possibly the coolest guy I know. he's a guitar player too. Well, I mean, you kind of have to be a guitar player to be a luthier, I think. Maybe
it helps, I think, to like kind of know. But
yeah,
Baranek's cool because he just, I don't know, he I think wants to try like fun new stuff when he creates guitars.
Yeah.
And we visited his shop a couple of times, and I've tried a couple of his acoustics, and I love how they sound. Mm-hmm. Like they sound so good. I just wish I could afford one.
Well, he's got he puts the sound. He has a sound hole in where a regular sound hole is, and then he also puts one like on the top, like kind of on the side, which is so interesting. So you can hear it a little bit louder yourself, which is cool.
A lot of guitars built that way either have one in one place or the other. Like in Boulder Creek had a couple of guitars like that.
Yeah.
That had the sound hole up at the top as opposed to the front.
Right.
But yeah, he's got them in both, which is kind of cool.
And he's doing electrics now.
Oh, his electrics look so cool. Like I see pictures of them on Instagram, And I'm just like, oh,
he's the reason I bought a Seafoam green guitar. Like,
oh yeah,
of course I would have loved to buy his Seafoam green guitar, but I cannot afford it. And so I bought a we'll get to it actually, but I bought a Seafoam green guitar, and because his first electric was Seafoam green, and we had an entire conversation about Seafoam green and how everything should be Seafoam green. Seafoam. And I was like, oh, I want so many Seafoam green things now. And I already do. I love that color. And I do think it's the coolest color on a guitar. So
it's really nice. It looks really nice in the guitar for sure.
He makes other colors too.
But yeah, he's doing electric guitars now. I think he's done a bass. I don't know if he's done more basses. I'd have to check. But yeah, he's a super cool dude. And his guitars are as far as boutique builders go, are pretty reasonable. So
yeah,
if you're looking to find a boutique guitar, he's a good place to start because his are a little bit on the less expensive side.
This next luthier maybe not as reasonable.
Yeah. On the other side of that price spectrum,
if you want to spend the same money as you would buy on a Tesla on a guitar,
go with Jason Costal.
Yeah,
they're amazing guitars.
They're the Teslas of guitars. No, they're not, but they really. I mean, Paul McCartney bought one for this guy has sold guitars to all the celebrities.
Yep, and a lot of celebrities, a lot of celebrity musicians who, because he can just get people exactly what they want. Like they describe to him, I want it to do this, 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 and this, and he's like, you got it.
Yeah,
he can do it.
He's incredible.
He was a student of the school here in Phoenix, right?
Yes, he was. I'll have to look up the name of it.
Yeah, there's a very famous luthier school here.
Roberto Mondali? What is that? I'm butchering this.
It is Roberto Venn. Roberto Venn School of Luthiery. It's a very famous luthiery school here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And he's a student of that. And
Which you can tour, by the way. You can tour the school.
You can tour the school. You can go here if you're interested in learning how to build guitars. I mean, Jason Costal's one of the best guitar builders in the world, and he's graduated from there. So
he also was an apprentice under a very, very famous luthier out of San Francisco. Actually, I think he and maybe even in Alameda, but I cannot remember the name of that guy. But that's kind of where he got his little push and his shops. We've toured his shop. I mean, it's so cool. It's
his jumbo guitars sound amazing. I got to play one of those before. Like I don't know what they're called. I don't know what the standard size is, but it was a jumbo, and man, that thing. Just I don't know. I could probably play it in a auditorium unamplified. Like it's so loud and so full.
Not to mention his guitar collection and that he's also a guitar collector.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, some of the guitars he has they're just crazy.
Yeah, I like his inlays a lot too. He comes up with some really really interesting inlay designs.
Yeah, I agree. And the wood some of the woods he uses, I'm like, what is that? So cool.
So cool. Next on our list is Santa Cruz guitars.
Yeah. We met the owner, and his name's escaping me, and I just...
Richard?
Yeah, Richard. Yeah. And we met him at NAMM, once again, because we met all these guys, thanks to Jason Costal at NAMM, and just got totally introduced to the super cool world of luthiers. And we got invited to this party for Santa Cruz guitars at the Airbnb that they were renting, and I think... Ed and I have never felt like cooler and nerdier in our lives because we walked in and we're just like nerding out on these like super awesome luthiers, and they who were like also just nerds. And
they're like a different class of nerd that totally outclass us.
Yeah, like the cool nerd, like Baranek, cool nerd. But I think we met Baranek at the party actually, and and we met Richard, and he was so nice, and he gave me his phone number, and he's like, if you're ever in, not in a creepy way, hey, if you guys are touring through Santa Cruz, come by my shop and I'll give you a personal tour. I mean, Santa Cruz, they're not small potatoes, really. I mean, they're a very world-renowned guitar company, even though they're on the luthier side. They're really up there and very well known. And so we passed through Santa Cruz and we called Richard and we're like, well, we're here. Can we get a tour? And we went to the Redwoods that day, and and then we went to Santa Cruz, the guitar, and we got to tour the facility. It was so cool. And Richard's just the nicest guy. And I mean, I remember, I think we went back to NAMM or the next year, and I went and or maybe it was the same time, and I like sat down at his booth, and he's like, "Here, Ashley, try this guitar," and he hands me a guitar, and I'm playing it. I'm like, "Oh my God, this thing!" I mean, it was butter. This guitar was butter, and like all around. I mean, it was a perfect size for me. I remember too. It was just like a very perfect smallish guitar, and I can't remember what kind of wood it was, but the action was perfect, and it's played like butter, and it felt like butter, and it was a perfect guitar. And I was like, wow, what's the price point on this? And I looked at the little tag, and it said, I think
it was like $13,000. Oh
no, it was more than that. It was at least $20,000. And I was like, okay, take this back now, please.
When you feel all the air leave your chest.
Yeah, like, I can't be holding this anymore. I don't deserve to, and I'm gonna do something wrong. And I don't have $20,000 to pay you back.
Right.
But I think they have some. I think they're not all that crazy. I think they have a range of prices. So I think
one of the things I liked most about that tour that he gave us of his shop was he took us back to where he stored the woods that he used.
Oh yeah,
and he would would show us listen to how this wood sounds, and he would hit it, and you could we kind of learned. Or at least kind of could notice, he told us hey, listen to how this wood sounds compared to this one and this one. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was the coolest thing because I'd never even thought about that before with a guitar, and now totally. I think about it a lot more, and he showed us kind of the musicality of different woods, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I forgot about that part, but yeah, that is cool. I mean,
I like that.
It's not, you hear the different things like oh, this is rosewood and this is mahogany and this is cedar, but you don't.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? and we know rosewood's more expensive, but why? And and yeah, all this stuff makes a huge difference in the sound, and it's kind of like wine. The more you drink in these guitars, the more you're gonna learn and have an ear for it.
That's true. That's very true. Next on our list, something a little bit of a bigger company, Martin Guitars.
A little bit.
We both have Martins.
We do. I think Ed has my Martin. I think Stephanie has your Martin.
Yep. We play musical guitars. Yep. And I've always been a Martin fan ever since I think I first played yours.
Yeah. Which fun fact, I'm also endorsed by Martin.
Yep. You are indeed.
Yeah.
And there's just, it's funny, I say it and it's not an exaggeration, it's not hyperbole. I have never played a bad Martin. It's even down to their $300 mini Martin, all the way up to I think somebody, it was a friend of, I think it was either Ethan or a friend of Ethan's had a Martin that he brought over one time because I was hanging out at his place when I was staying with him.
Yeah.
And he invited a friend over, and I think his friend had a Martin that was some kind of old kind of Martin. And man, that guitar was so cool. It was so good.
I love those mini Martins too. They're great.
I have never played a bad Martin. It kind of doesn't matter what price point it was at. I haven't played one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played a few good Taylors and a few good anything else.
Well,
I've played a few good
Taylors
ones.
make good guitars too. If you're looking,
they make very good guitars.
Don't buy one blind though. Go play it and make sure you connect with it. And because I made that mistake once with a Taylor, and I was like, okay, this is not for me, and I ended up giving it to my step niece, I guess, and she's been playing it. But yeah, I know what you mean about
great Taylors too.
Yeah, some of them are just like, wow.
But every Martin I've ever picked up, I've loved. It really doesn't matter what it is or how old it is or how expensive it is. I don't know what it is about that company. It's just, for me, they make some of the best acoustic guitars, kind of the most consistently good acoustic guitars.
I agree.
That's for a major manufacturer.
Well, I became a Martin lover because of Ethan Newman as well. I mean, his Martins, I think his is from like the 70s or something. It's
that might have been the one I played.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It was great.
It's incredible. And he has he was playing outside in 115-degree weather in the dead of summer from 1 to 4 p.m. every Sunday and like sweating all over it, and it's sitting in the sun for years. And I mean Ethan plays this guitar 5 times a week, and it just never it's maintains its quality. In fact, I think it gets better with your like blood, sweat, and tears. It's just
probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Versus my Avian's a little bit more delicate. You have to you have to treat it with a little more care.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of Martin guitars. I probably always will be. If that'd be one of the acoustics I would consider getting. If I had like a good chunk of money to get an acoustic, a higher end acoustic, it would definitely be a Martin.
Yeah.
Yep. Next on the list is Epiphone.
Which is Ed's guitar.
That's my guitar here. And this, for anyone who's ever wondered, the full name for this guitar is the Epiphone Emperor Swingster Royale. It's based on a Joe Pass 2 Emperor 2, I believe it's called, with different pickups and slightly different controls. I think the rest of it's pretty much the same. But Epiphone, I used to have an Epiphone Les Paul that I also really, really loved. I still kick myself for getting rid of that guitar. It was a Les Paul Ultra, and it was like a $500 or $600 guitar because I couldn't afford a Gibson Les Paul.
Yeah.
But man, I loved that thing. It just played so well, and it sounded great. And that's the same thing I love about this Epiphone. It just sounds great. It plays really well. It's very versatile, and I think that's one of the fun things about Epiphone is if you can't afford a Gibson, it's a great alternative. And they also make a few hollow bodies and semi-hollow bodies that you can't get from Gibson. So if you're looking for a hollow body, it's one of the brands definitely to consider, I would say. And then I've always had really good luck with Epiphones.
Yeah.
That's what Kylie uses too.
Yeah,
Kylie
I think she's endorsed by Epiphone.
She's endorsed by Epiphone, yep.
Yeah, and it's also just a beautiful looking guitar. It's a showstopper for sure.
They make really good looking guitars, I gotta say.
Yeah.
So yeah, good old Epiphone. I love them. And then finally, the showstopper.
The other showstopper is my Guild Starfire.
I love that name.
What a great name, Starfire! Like, of course I'm gonna buy this guitar, and it's seafoam green. Like, did you read my diary, Guild? So, Guild. I know. I mean, I've actually never played a Guild before, but I know someone who does, and that is Johnny Garcia out of Nashville, who is my former producer.
Is that his guitar? That's the one he plays on stage?
A lot. He was endorsed by Guild. I don't think he is anymore for whatever reason. Just moved on to something else, or I don't know. But he had a lot of Guild guitars and recorded a lot of our album with his Guilds. And so I always just kind of knew the name. I'm like, well, if Guild is good enough for Johnny Garcia, it's good enough for me too. So, but I kind of just stumbled across it. But Guild is a very, very good brand. So if you're looking for either electric or acoustic, I definitely recommend looking at Guilds. And
I know they make very good acoustics. I've heard good things about their acoustic stuff.
Yeah, I think he has more acoustics than electrics, but I think he also has like some kind of a Sunburst hollow body. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, I got this one because I've always wanted it's for like not always for the last maybe 4 years. I've been heavily considering buying, basically a twin version of Ed's guitar. And I went to a music store once and I got very, very close to buying the exact same guitar in orange. And I didn't end up doing it because it was so hard for us to have more than one guitar on the road. And I was like, well, I can't just buy this guitar and like leave it sitting in Arizona and only play it 2 months out of the year. So I decided then wasn't the time. But when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, now's the time. I need to buy myself one of these guitars, especially there was a show recently where my acoustic stopped working and Ed had his bass on the show. So what we did was we just set the acoustic aside. I played Ed's electric for most of the show and he played bass. And there were like 2 or 3 songs in the set where we're like, oh, yeah, when we do this live, I need to play Ed's guitar from this point forward. This is how it should go. So I was like, okay, I really want one of my own so I could do it at my own shows and record with it too, my little home studio. So I was looking up Epiphone and then I went, wait a minute, what if they have an Epiphone in Seafoam Green? And they did not, but they did have a Guild Starfire in Seafoam Green. And it was brand new.
Yeah, you said it came out this year?
Yes, like that month.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there was like one review on this thing. And so I was trying to find somewhere that maybe had it in stock so I could go play it. Nobody has it in stock. It's so new. And it comes in white and Sunburst and the Seafoam Green. Maybe black too. But I was like, all right, Guitar Center's got a great return policy. Another thing to keep in mind if you're going to be ordering anything, Guitar Center, you can return anything for free for up to 45 days. And I was like, all right, I'll know within 45 days if I want this thing or not. So it came in the mail and it's gorgeous. And at first I wasn't that attached to it. And then I brought it to the little local shop and plugged it into one of their amazing amps. And I was like, okay, now it sounds like a guitar. And so you really need to plug these things in, just across the board, any semi-hollow body. Is yours a semi-hollow, Ed?
I think mine's a full hollow body. Okay. It's not an arch top, but I think it's a full hollow body.
Okay. Yeah, this one's a semi, which I kind of wanted a full because I like how you can kind of still get an acoustic sound out of a full hollow body, but it's still not enough. So I was like, all right, semi-hollow works. It's got this very similar tone.
It sounds great.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. And then my friend Paul Turchetta set it up for me from Cave Creek Guitar Company. So shout out to them. If you ever need any guitar work or in a market for a cool guitar, go to Cave Creek Guitar Company and talk to Paul. Guy. Really, really good guy. Yeah, and he set up the action for me and fixed a little something that had broke, which happens. Yeah. And I love it. So there you go. That's my Guild.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, just some of our favorite brands and guitars that we've run across in our travels. It's kind of fun. Feel free to ask us if you need any more info or recommendations. We can certainly try and point you in the right direction. As far as that goes. Yeah,
definitely.
It's been fun. It's been fun trying all these different new guitars. I still wish I had a Les Paul, but maybe someday I'll get another one.
Yeah, I bet you will.
I don't see the need right now, but maybe someday.
Yeah. Well, I think on that note, we can wrap this podcast up with a song, which don't forget to check out our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/crimesagainstfolk to get your weekly pre-show exclusive concert for just $5 a month.
Yep.
Plus other things, like so many other things. I think that's kind of the biggest sell, but what do I know? And just to join our community, it's a lot of fun. And thank you guys. Thanks to Pizza for being our guest today.
Yes. always thank your pizza.
Yep. Don't forget to thank your pizza.
What do you want to end on?
I know I didn't put a song in, so this means the next 30 minutes is Ed and I trying to figure out what song we're going to play of the 400 songs we know. Have we done No Surprises yet?
I don't think we have.
Do you feel like doing that one?
Yeah, I don't think we have done that yet. A heart that's full up like a landfill, a job that slowly kills you, bruises that won't heal. You look so tired and happy, bring down the government. They don't speak for us. I'll take the quiet life, a handshake of carbon monoxide with no alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises. Silent. This is my final fit, my final bellyache with no alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises, such a pretty house and such a pretty garden. No alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises, please. Nice.
Cool.
Nice. Well, that's our show. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thanks, pizza.
Thanks to all of the wonderful pizza places we've visited. We'll collect all the links and post them in there so you can check them out for yourself.
Yep.
Send in any suggestions you might have for cool pizza places in your town. Again, as usual, this will come out Tuesday, so check your podcast app of choice, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.